show us what the weather is going to be like, not just for today, but for the next several days. And you know, their ability to predict the weather is not any skill that they have necessarily, but it's due to the technology that is available to us. Satellites watch weather patterns around the world, and they can tell if a storm is developing off the coast, when it will come to the inland. They can predict if cooler weather will come based on the winds, the prevailing winds. So many people rely on meteorologists in this regard, although we know that they're not always right. What if we had some way of knowing when we were going to be tempted? Or if we had some gadget that would tell us whether we're making the right decision or not? What if we had something like an Apple Watch, which could kind of be like our personal conscience telling us don't do that or do this? You know, people may be able to avoid temptation if we knew when it was coming, or perhaps we would be more careful about our decision making if we had something to help inform us of the consequences of certain actions. But what we do have is our conscience. The Catechism of the Church says the following: deep within the conscience, man discovers a law which he has not laid upon himself, but which he must obey. Its voice ever calling to him to love and to do what is good and to avoid evil sounds in his heart at the right moment. So if our conscience deep within us is well formed, then we do have that voice, that alarm perhaps, which can warn us about temptation, can remind us about the difference between doing what is right and wrong. Sounds easy enough. But St. Paul apparently does not think it is so easy. He says while he knows what he should not do, he does it anyway. That's because the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. Paul describes a tension that exists between the body and the spirit. The flesh desires sin, while the spirit fights against sin. And in the end, it all seems overwhelming for St. Paul, who says, "Who will deliver me from this mortal body?" In other words, the only way to escape sin is to get out of your body. Well, John Paul II, whose memorial we celebrate today, saw things a little bit differently. He saw the body as something good, as evidenced by the fact that God took flesh in the person of Jesus. So the body is basically good, although it is tempted. Through faith, through discipline, through forgiveness, the body can be an instrument of holiness as it submits itself to the Spirit within us, who desires all that is good. So in spite of our tendency towards sinning in the flesh, we can take hope that God's grace can always make us stronger. The body is for good. The body can do good. And in the body, we live out the kingdom of God. Yet we know the tension and we know the struggle that comes with temptation and sin. So as we struggle in this way, let us call upon God's mercy to assist us in becoming stronger in both body and spirit.